everyone, and welcome to Transatlantic Watch Party, a TikTok live / podcast in which Dan in Canada and myself, Cara, in the UK, watch a show separately and then chat about it. We are watching 911, and this week we are discussing Season 8, Episode 15, Lab Rats.
Mm-hmm.
So, I was very close to getting that completely right. I just stumbled over one word, so well done me.
Very, very well done. So what did you think of the episode? Let's hear your opening thoughts to start.
Oh, I thought it was a cracking episode. There was so much to shout at. There was so many NDEs, just NDEs flying around all over the place. There were twists, there were turns. There was final proof that I do not care for a helicopter chase. Yeah.
Liked it.
So I really enjoyed it. Obviously, things happened in it that weren't great. But yeah, did you enjoy? Did you think it was a good second part?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it didn't go in the direction that I expected. I mean, parts of it did go where we expected it to go, and there are some tropes that this show does exhibit quite often. That were part of this, but I still enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. It was an unexpected twists and turns and suspenseful. I was not expecting the helicopter chase. I did not know what Tommy did, or maybe you've told me before, but I forgot. So I was not aware of, and I saw, by the way, in the opening credits, I always notice Lou Ferrigno Jr. in the credits, Tom, who plays Tommy. And, how's he going to be a part of this? Did you immediately know how he was going to be a part of it?
Again, because I am in spoiler territory every day on TikTok, I knew that he was in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd seen behind the scenes footage of helicopters flying around. So That was when we were like, I think Tommy's probably going to be in this episode because there's helicopters.
I mean, and when you think about it, it's a very logical thing for Buck to do in that moment when he needs to get across town real quick. Let's call his ex-boyfriend, who happens to be a helicopter pilot. So that works really well.
And that's what, I mean, it is not the first time that Tommy has stolen a helicopter for them to help them.
Oh, okay.
So,
and he still has his job?
Yeah, because there are no consequences for anything in 911, except this week. First time, nihilism. Whoa, shocking. So let us crack on with the episode breakdown. So, first thing we saw was we went back to Moira 2 hours earlier, what she did. So we had it confirmed that it was arson. So what she wanted to do, at that point I was like, oh, okay. So what she wants to do is to set the virus free. She wants it everywhere because she has the only cure and she can make herself very rich and very famous, she thinks.
Yeah, and I think they did a great job of making very clear how unstable she was and like what.
Yeah.
Like when you think about what, like she's already amped up this virus so that its incubation period is like 90 minutes and it's deadly, right? Like you're going to die within an hour and a half of getting this thing. And then she decides to like set it free and then go off and try and sell it to the whoever she tries to sell it to. It's like, she's not really thinking this through.
Yeah.
It's not a free plan. I would have taken both the virus and the cure and maybe snuck away without setting fire to anything. Probably would have been hours before anyone would have noticed anything was missing. Mm-hmm. And then she could have been like halfway around the world by now, selling it somewhere in Europe or somewhere, you never know.
Yeah. She could have let it loose, like just smashed the virus somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
She's not. She's a few sandwiches short of a picnic, as they say. And then we see that Maddie is still connected to this call. I was just like, I get it now. She's not working anymore. Like, absolutely. She has had the go-ahead from her boss to just stay on this call forever. But, like, we were having that discussion last week about, like, the crew turns up and you get off the call so that you can help someone else. Every time she's on a call with the 118, everyone around her must be like, oh, she's going to be hours.
Well, I don't know how long they don't usually take this long, maybe, and maybe it's not always her husband who's in direct like danger of dying, in the moment. So they her husband's contracted this fatal virus that's about to kill him. So you go ahead and take your time, man.
Yes, Like, that's understandable. This episode, it's understandable, but I do wonder if she's, like, always hanging around on there just to see that just to make sure. Because she's, you know, she's got two, what sits in the game? Something's...
Family members?
Sorry?
Family members?
Yeah, like, because when Buck was struck by lightning, somebody knocked on her door in the full, you know, fire, like somebody's dead uniform, you know.
Mm-hmm.
She opened the door and she said, "Which one?" Because of course she's got skin in the game. That's what I was trying to say. She's got two skins in the game.
Skins in the game? I don't know. How about 2 irons in the fire? 2 irons in the fire. How about that one?
Yeah, very much so. And then the FBI turns up, and I thought this when the army turned up, that they were like, "Hey, this is a tier 4 leak, and whenever there's a tier 4 leak, we know about it." And I was like, then why are you so late? And only now does the FBI turn up, whenever there's a tier 4 leak. Where were you? Spain? What's going on?
No, I don't know. No idea. Yeah, they show up and take over.
And then we got a title drop, and I always, you know me, I love a title drop.
But it just occurs to me this week that this show doesn't really have a theme song. And that's a shame. I think that's a shame. I mean, it's really just like whatever the beep 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 at the beginning, and then that's it. And then we're off into whatever the episode is. So
you are really enjoying your 80s shows at the moment and the theme tunes.
It was the best era for theme songs. They really knew how to do it back then. They really knew how to get you hyped up for the show. And it like a lot of them told the story of the show, right? Like Perfect Strangers tells the story of the show perfectly every time, and it sets you up so you can watch any episode completely.
You know what you're getting into. Anyway. Yeah, whereas these days, even if they do have like a theme song, you get skip
credits. Yeah. And then if there's anything more than 911, like it's either super short and boom to like show's beginning super quick, or it's super long and it's a very elaborate CGI caricature of the characters in it or whatever, and it's very artsy and it's all but it is very much a skippable. Like you do not hang around for those ones. Skip. I never skip the A-Team intro.
No, why would you? Because you can sit. But the thing is, as well, the A-Team theme song is just so singable. You know, it's just a sing along. And I'm watching a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine because I've never watched that before, and that's been my new sort of thing to catch up on. And I'm just like ba 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 ba. You know,
I would say that was one of the last great ones because that's a fairly recent show, still fairly recent, and it is a really good theme song for sure.
Yeah, I watched the first one. Whenever I watch a new series, I watch the first one because I need to know like what the credits are doing, and I need to know who's in it and all that sort of stuff. And I want to get the vibe of the theme tune, and then every time after that, I skip it.
Right.
Oh yes, and we had Bobby was on the phone to Athena with everyone else around. So he's on speaker and he's chatting to everyone. And he obviously is talking to her in code. Because
yeah, I did pick up on that, by the way. I was like, huh? I was kind of like Buck in that situation. Like, what's going on?
I thought her sort of demeanor changed, and I was like, because she went from fighting for them tooth and nail to like, okay, we'll go, and I was like, something's happened there. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, because the FBI guy was like, because she realized that they weren't gonna give them the vaccine anyway.
No, they want to save it for web to replicate so they can have it on hand in case this gets out. And it's their only safety net. It really is. That's why they want it. So in code, Bobby tells her to go off and look for it herself. Basically, I think is what he says. I don't remember what he actually said. I'm like, wait a minute, did he say that?
He's like, they've got all the resources, and he said something about like, you can't be here. It's too personal, and you know how you get when things get personal. And so I was like, oh, he's telling her to be like that.
Okay, yeah, he's like, yeah, because what she does is she goes and solves it, right? She's like, she goes and fixes whatever's wrong. Is that what she does?
She goes out, abuses her powers as a police woman, and and
exactly what we saw.
For the smaller category of people. Hey, Bill's here. Hi, Bill. I hope you're doing okay. just any actual 911 people who join, tonight on the live. I hope you're okay.
That's how you say to each other now.
It's all of my For You page is just people crying and saying they're never watching the show again. So.
Okay, well let's get to that in a sec. We'll get to that when we get to it. What's next on the thing here?
Oh, so we went into the lab, and the only thing I wrote down about this scene, it's Maddie on the call, about like, oh, we need to give him saline, I think.
Oh, it's when he started bleeding? Is this when he started bleeding out of his nose really badly?
He's bleeding really badly, but he is bleeding, and they're like, well, they're looking through the symptoms, and she's like, and Hen goes, the way we would normally treat this is just to sort of back up his system, and so she realizes that they'd give him, she's like, well, we give him blood and we don't have any blood, so we give him saline, and all the saline's on the rig, and so they're like, okay, well, we need to make saline. And Hen's like, we can't do that. And Bobby says, we're trapped in a giant chemistry set. And I thought that was like a really cute way of saying we're in a lab.
We can make it, basically, is what he's saying. Yeah, we have the capability to make whatever we want. So this makes us saline. So there you go. So then they have a plan, and that's good because that keeps them occupied while Athena and Buck go off to track down Moira. And I gotta say, I really like the pairing of Athena and Buck together, because Buck will just do whatever she wants. Like Athena will, like, she knows what's going on. She's gonna go. Buck's like, okay, what now? And she's like, okay, now, okay, what now? And he's just like waiting, and she's like, wait here, and he'll wait here, and then he does what he's told until he doesn't later on. But that was I love that dynamic. I thought it was really hilarious.
I did see someone recently, because we always call Bobby Captain Dad, because he's like everybody's dad, but he's very much Buck's dad, his father figure. And so I saw someone refer to Athena as Cop Mom, and I was like, okay, there you go. And this was a brilliant episode for Cop Mom and Firefighter Son. They have done this before.
Oh, okay.
But it was very much Buck going AWOL and Athena having to like staple him to the seat of the car. Like, don't do this. When Maddie got kidnapped by her ex-husband.
Okay.
So, they have been a little duo before, and yeah, I do love seeing them together. And so she's like, they go to Moira's house. She's like, oh, I'm just gonna go walk into the house, and he's like, they'll know. And she's like, no, I'm just a police officer helping out, and he says, oh, brilliant. So what am I? And he's like, you're a man that's staying in the car.
I love that. He like really wanted to get undercover and be like in there too, and he's like, what can I be? Nothing. Sorry, but he cannot be anything. And she goes in. Now the first thing, this is the second thing she did. The first thing she does is call someone and get him on the prowl for her car, basically, or figuring out what happened to her car.
Yes. Officer
Right?
Williamson?
I think so. Yeah. And so he's here, and he basically tells him to report directly to her. Yeah. And not like tell anybody else when he finds it. He's her personal investigator to find that car. Yeah.
He basically abuses her powers as a police.
Yeah. And then she does it even more when they show up at the crime scene at Moira's house, and they're investigating, and she basically befriends the photographer who's walking out with a crate and just kind of, oh, I'm here to help. I'm not above helping. Let me get that for you. And I'm gonna walk over, getting information from him as they are, and then she steals his pictures. She steals his SD card out of his camera that's got all the crime scene photos. So basically, they don't even need to go into the house. They can see everything they took photos of.
Evan Buckley, and in fact, Karen, the rocket scientist, Karen Wilson, neither of them have ever seen an SD card before.
That was a bit weird.
Like, what's that?
So even Athena's like, do you have something that can play this? I'm like, you guys don't know what that is? It's pretty old technology at this point, right? It's been around for a while. So everyone who has owned a digital camera knows what an SD card is. Yeah. So yeah, it's a bit weird.
That was very funny. So then we went back to the lab where they're trying to make the saline, and Maddie, in her most supportive voice, says, "If you get this wrong, you'll stop his heart." And I was like, "You're not helping, Maddie." Hen knows that. She doesn't have a calculator. You do. Then they very helpfully told us what 0.9% was. And, they're like, they broke it down for her. And I was like, that's cute. Thanks. And then we got an NDE for Ravi.
Right. Yeah. Ravi collapses. And at first we went to think that he's got the virus. Right. That's kind of what we assume because they're in a place where there's a deadly virus. He could have a tear in his suit or something and he could be exposed. But no, it turns out he's out of air. They have their air bottles are running out. They don't have a certain amount because they're only meant to be on site for maybe a couple hours at most, like fighting a fire. Like they couldn't eat it for longer than that. And no, he's run out of air and they're all low. But then they have to figure out how to use the system. There's already an air system existing that Maddie has the plans to.
Yep.
Maddie, you always have the necessary plans. Here you go. You can hook this into here, but we don't know if we're going to be able to couple it with the whatever. They figure out a way. They figure out a way to MacGyver that thing in there and give him some air.
There is a small scene in between when they figure out what's going on with Ravi and when they fix it. So when Ravi collapses, he isn't breathing. And I was like, at this point, has Chimney stopped breathing yet? Not yet.
No.
But Hen and Ravi have both stopped breathing, and I was like, "Oh, we're just checking them all off now. Everyone's going to have a point at which they stop breathing. That's just how this episode is going to go." And then we go back to Athena and Buck at Karen's house, explaining the situation to the rocket scientist who doesn't know what an SD card is, and
she does seem to know a lot about this person and kind of I assume you say she's a rocket scientist, literally a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
I thought based on this conversation that she was also a geneticist or something, like the same kind of scientist that the people in the lab would be, because she seemed to know a lot about all this stuff.
What she really knew about was who the Nobel Prize winners were, which I suppose, she said, they're the rock stars of science. So as a scientist, we know she is a rocket scientist. What do we know about Karen? She is not a botanist. That's what we know. She made that very clear last week.
Yeah.
And I loved the bit where Buck said Athena stole them from the police, the crime scene photos, and she didn't. She said, "I am the police. I transferred custody." And I was like, once again, abusing your powers as a cop. So then we go back to the lab. This is what we did all episode. It was short, sort of snappy scenes between the different pairings. And so when we get the fix of Bobby going, I can just attach this constant source of oxygen to, our supply line. I wrote down, if you can't fix it with gaffer tape, you haven't used enough. And that was that's basically what you say in the theatre. Like, I did a touring panto. I literally all the stuff in a car, and we went to primary schools and performed. And that was we even fixed our car with gaffer tape at some point. So I was genuinely like, if you can't fix it with gaffer tape, you've not used enough gaffer tape. So Bobby duct tapes them all, gaffer tapes them together. And that's when I was like, oh, something's wrong with Bobby.
Oh.
Because we had that very brief moment where he looked down at his hand, and I thought, is he bleeding?
Mm-hmm.
He's got an injury, so he's got an open wound, so he's going to get sick. And that's when I spotted that there was an issue.
Okay, I didn't pick up. No, I did not pick up on that at all. I remember him doing that, glancing down like that, but I didn't really assign any importance to it. I just thought he was just looking down at his suit or something. Yeah. So, good call. You're right, there's probably a foreshadowing there.
Just to say, Ante has joined us, Lauren has joined us. Again, to both of you, I'm so sorry, and I hope you're okay.
I mean, it's funny how solemn you are.
And then we go back to Karen and everyone figuring out this thing with the Nobel laureates. And Buck has a smart moment. So he's like, oh, she wants to. So I know about arson.
Mm-hmm.
I know about viruses, but I know about arson. And some people burn stuff down because they want to see the world burn, and some people want to come in and save the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, that's a good point. But then I think it was Karen who said, oh, she's got a savior complex. And I was like, no, she doesn't. She's got a complete sense of ambition that is so overwhelming. She doesn't want to save people. She only wants to save people for the recognition. And I suppose maybe that is a savior complex, but we've had a guy on before who sort of had a savior complex. And he did the stuff he did to get the sort of endorphins from saving people. Yeah. Yes. I'm going to say to Lauren, I completely agree with you. Lauren's just said she's upset about the reaction to the episode. Because the episode has been review bombed, and I think that is such a sad thing. Such a sad thing to have happened. Because it was a great episode. And for us, and whatever we know what's going on, we will look at it, the fans will look at it and go, oh, something clearly happened in this episode. But for anyone else, I don't know, that doesn't sit right with me. So yes, and then we find out, because the officer who Athena has got, on the other end of the phone.
On the hunt for the car, he tracks it down, right?
Yes. And where does he find it?
In the parking lot at work. She never left it. She never drove it that way. She left it at work, which is hilarious.
She stole Roz's bag, so why wouldn't she take Roz's car?
Right. And do you think we could have thought of that earlier? Maybe. I don't know.
What I didn't get was when she took Roz's cup, it had all that ice in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, it didn't look like she'd gone and got the ice. Like the ice was already in there for her to slip the antiviral in, and I was like, why in that kind of cup? What was Roz drinking that would have had?
Well, maybe she was it was the kind of ice that you can chew on. Maybe she just likes to chew on the ice. Was there something about the cup in the first part? There's a joke about the cup. What was that about?
That she was overhydrating. She needed a lot of caffeine because she'd had a hard night or something. And I was like, okay, what kind of drink in a cup that is built to keep cold things cold and hot things hot? What kind of drink comes with a lot of ice in it that she's tipped into this, is it like some kind of coffee drink, like a frappuccino or something, like a...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I was like, what is all that ice in there? And I don't drink coffee, so I have no idea.
I don't drink cold coffee.
And, yeah. And so we see that Roz has gone to sell the cure.
Yeah.
And
she's selling this guy on how would you feel if you can save everyone in the world and make $1 billion doing it or whatever? There's gonna be another pandemic, but you're gonna have the cure and you're gonna be able to sell it to everybody, which is pretty evil. That is when you think about it, and especially the way she's amped this up, how many people have to die in this situation, right? Think about how many people died during the pandemic. It would be way worse than that. That's horrible. She's completely evil, and all she cares about is getting the recognition of coming up with this cure. It's a kind of a god complex, maybe. I don't know. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah, maybe, but also...
all about her. That's all she cares about is her. If you look at all the lines, and I was paying attention to everything she said throughout this episode, it's just about her. She only cares about herself. It's very, very clear.
Yeah, that's yeah. And I was like, because the guy she's selling it to is later on very much I was never going to buy this. And I believe him. I believe that he was the minute, because he goes, oh, there's a super strain. Nobody has that. And she went, they're about to. And as soon as somebody walks in, a viral genius who's been working in a lab walks into your building and says, I need, you can make loads of money because there's a pandemic about to start and I can't tell you how it's going to start, and nod, nod, wink, wink. You'd be like, okay, I'm calling the police. I'm calling calling the army.
Yeah.
I'm calling a lot of people because it's clearly a problem.
And when Buck and Athena do show up, he's like, wow, you got here quickly. I just called 5 minutes ago. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I mean, oh, yes, we are here responding to your call. take us to where the person is. And then they go upstairs and then look for a minute, they make it look like she took off. Hey, that was weird. They're like, oh,
Yes.
you're a second. And then all of a sudden she's just like, oh, hello. And she's there. She didn't try and escape. She was just like looking out the window or something.
She was off in the little kitchenette
She's hiding her
getting pastries. And I did enjoy that when she turned up and Athena was like, "You're under arrest," and she was like, "I swear, I thought the pastries were for everyone." I was like, "Oh, she's funny. Yeah. Oh, she's funny. Yeah. I don't know that." But before that, we just got a really lovely scene where I wrote down an entire speech. I've never done that before. The entire quote that because Hen and Ravi were talking, and Ravi was like, I know what this job entails. I know I might not go home any day that I come into work, but I don't know when do I call them, and she said, if you need to hear the sound of their voice, that's for you, but know that it'll change things for them. If you make it out of here, it'll be harder for them each time they have to watch you leave. And I thought that was such a good speech from Hen. I thought that was a really, really lovely moment.
You get the feeling that she was speaking from experience there, right? Mm-hmm. That she was at one point, like when she was younger, and she would like call somebody in that situation, and then probably put that person through a lot because of that. Because yes, when you go into, like, your job is to go into danger every day, right? And basically kind of making Robbie realize, like, what is it? Do you want to talk to them for you, or is it for them? Like, what is really your purpose here, right? It kind of makes them realize, oh, okay, I'm okay now. He doesn't have to call.
The only problem was he genuinely didn't think he was getting out. Like, I know that they all knew that everyone was working their asses off to get them out, but so really what you need to do is call them just at the point when you're dying. Like, because then you get to, do that whole goodbye message when it's absolutely definitely goodbye. Because if you do it too early, then, and we got the scene with, in that same thing, between Chim and Bobby, where Chim was doing that thing where he was like, oh, I always hated my dad for leaving and now I'm about to do the same thing. I was like, you're not doing this. This is not the same thing. Your dad, that was a choice that he made. He left you and your mum. Mm-hmm. You desperately don't want this to happen. Like, I'm sure that your wife and children will be devastated, but understand that this is what happened. Also, the fact that your wife should be able to hear all this, but we don't see her, so it seems weird. Is she not on the call anymore? I don't know what she's doing. Is she nipped to the loo?
It's true. She was gone for a while.
Yeah, and they
had a moment together.
We got the big pause because there was, like, Chim said to Cap, you're not going to leave them alone. Like, everyone thinks Maddie's going to convince everyone she's okay. She's very strong. But she's not going to convince you, and you're not going to leave them alone. And Cap looks away. And I was like, something's happening.
Okay. Yeah, you guys are picking up on this way more than I was. I was not picking up on any of those.
And he asks him specifically to take care of them. And Bobby does not say, I will take care of them. He says, I promise I will let nothing bad happen to your family. He specifically does not confirm that he will take care of them. And I was like, oh, no, all this is pointing to very bad things happening. And then he got Maddie on the phone so that she could FaceTime her husband. And they were so cute. He was like, how's work? And she's like, oh, the usual. And he's like, yeah, hey, I might fall asleep. I'm so bored. And they were so cute. And he was sitting there and they were, on the phone. And then all of a sudden he had a nasal tube.
Oh, okay. Damn it. He had it and then, yeah.
And I was like, okay, so at some point, I think might have happened is that they were like, we'll do the saline through a nasal, cannula, whatever. And then they realized that later on they were going to have to stuff something else up his nose. And they were like, oh shit, well, we can't, So they changed their mind. And so you see that he has one on his arm. Mm-hmm. And so I think they filmed some of it, and then they went, "Oh shit, we hadn't thought about that." So then they never filmed with that naval camera again, and so we never, we never saw it again. But he was talking to Maddie, and you could see him on the phone to Maddie, no nasal tube. And then the next time we saw Maddie's perspective, and she's looking at him on the phone, he had a nasal tube, and I was like, "What are you doing? You were doing so well." And that's when he starts fully hemorrhaging.
Yeah, out of his nose. And that was a chilling line where someone's like, "Can he bleed out of his nose?" And Hen's like, "Yeah, he can." Like, that's absolutely possible. And it's like, oh man, this is like pretty serious, because it just won't stop.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, Ravi, have you not watched the same medical dramas I have? Because I know that you can bleed out through your nose.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Ravi is the firefighter, right? So he's not the expert. Hen is the only other expert in medical, other than Chimney, who's very sick right now. So Hen is the expert in this, and she knows what's going on. So
yes, so she knows that you can, and it was absolutely horrifying. Okay, yes. Then we go back to "You're under arrest. I swear I thought the pastries were for everyone." Very funny line. And then she's like, "No, you're under arrest for this thing. Let's start with this thing and this thing and this thing." And Murray was like, "And you're not even out of the A's." So I thought that was great. And then they fight. She's hidden the antiviral. She's hidden the mug. And she gives it away completely. She's very bad at this.
look directly at it. Oops.
Yeah, it's not anywhere. Like, very unsubtle. And then the brilliant thing is they just pick up the mug and they go, "Here we go, we've got it." And nobody looks inside that mug. So I thought that they were going to get there and it wasn't going to be in it.
Okay. That's interesting. It didn't occur to me.
But they didn't. It was in there. That was fine.
And so, and by the way, Buck was waiting downstairs the whole time until the FBI shows up. And he's like, "Uh-oh." He heads upstairs. I guess calls Tommy while he's on the way upstairs. Is that when when did he call Tommy for the ride back?
I think he called him as soon as Athena left.
Oh, okay. Okay, and said, "Okay, we're at this building."
Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense. Not that this is a show that needs to make sense. But...
Hen's birthday took 3 days, okay? Remember that?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god, yes. Let us never forget Hen's 3-day birthday. So I think he called him first because he knew that this was a possibility.
Yeah.
Lauren saying, "I enjoyed Athena being annoyed to see Tommy." Like, "Oh, you call your boyfriend? No, my ex-boyfriend."
He buys a helicopter. Stop complaining.
Yeah, exactly. What are you talking about? Why? I think we're focusing on the wrong thing here, Athena.
Yeah.
So they go upstairs. Then the helicopter arrives, and Athena's like, "I need to make a call," and I just wrote down, "This is no time to be making phone calls, Athena," and I did not. This was the thing I didn't pick up on, was that she wasn't getting on the helicopter.
Yeah, me neither. I didn't. I had to, like, after it's revealed later on. Like, did she never get on then? How did she? Oh, I guess she still has a car. I guess she still does have her car that she drove there with Buck,
Yes,
right? So just get back to the car and drive.
Which is
down.
also actually, I didn't think of that because she turns up with Karen. So why she had a car? Why is Karen there anyway?
And why did Karen come with them to that place? Is that what happened?
Or at least we didn't see her, and I think she turned up in Karen's car. And it might have been, thinking about it, it might have been that her car is traceable because it's a cop car.
Oh yeah, fair.
So maybe she was like, "I need to be in a different vehicle that they won't trace," Yeah. Yes. So if she leaves her car there, they will assume she's got on the helicopter. So actually, do you know what? We've figured it out. It wasn't a
There you
pothole. And I liked that the scientist said, "I'm not getting on that death trap." Didn't want to get on the helicopter, and I was like, "Do you not understand how helicopters work?" Like,
yeah, and you just released a deadly virus into the world that you could still catch at some point. Like, you could just Or maybe she couldn't have taken them. You can't take the virus and the antivirus until after you've been infected, right? Is that kind of the rule of these things? You can't be immune to it. There's no such thing as being immune to it.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, you don't mind working with viruses every day, but you're not going on a helicopter. You draw the line at helicopters. That made me laugh. Then we go back to the lab, and the hen does an extraordinary thing. She pulls the tube out. And I was like, oh, hen's going to get sick.
Yeah. And Auntie said something about that as well earlier in the comments, as far as thank you, because she has an open wound, right? So she's going to be sick. And that, I mean, it opened in the last episode. Let's not forget. She would have been infected last episode, when they would have operated on her.
Yes. And they were very like, we'll stick the tube in really quick. Yeah. But there's still
faster than the virus, apparently.
So she pulls the tube out, and I assume she shuts it with her thumb and forefinger or something, to try and stop. But again, we don't know how quickly this virus moves, and so I was like, oh no, is hen now gonna get the virus? And then what are they gonna do? We go back to the helicopters for the most boring kind of chase you can have.
I know. Oh man, this is just like, I'm first of all, is this even allowed? Like, I would, if I saw this happening above me, I would call the police and say, there's something going on up there. I don't know what's going on, but two helicopters were trying to head off this other helicopter, and it was not a very well, it was just kind of following him, and then they kind of get in front of him, and he swoops down a bit, and then kind of goes, it was not very exciting. And he ends up landing in the middle of a freaking football field. That's not allowed either. That's there's no way Tommy kept his job after this. I can't see him continuing to work there. He must be in trouble.
Ante says that the people of LA complained a lot when they were filming that scene. So the police did get a lot of calls.
There you go. Well, people don't.
A helicopter up there filming it, the two helicopters that were chasing. But I'm just okay, car chases, you have to interact with everything else.
Yeah.
Helicopter chases is ooh, I'm just in open space, and then the other helicopters are in open space.
Yeah.
It just doesn't feel like there's any jeopardy.
No, and I'll tell you this. I remember I talked about Airwolf last week, which is the helicopter show I've been watching. It's very, very related to this. And there's a lot of helicopter chases, but it's mostly through canyons and low to the ground in difficult circumstances to navigate. And that's really the thrust of this, is that pilot of Airwolf is the best pilot. He can pilot of any situation. He's can do whatever. And Airwolf is the best helicopter to let him do that. So that's what you have to make it exciting. You can't have it just happen over LA, just over the LA skyline, which only has LA only has 4 tall buildings, right? 4 or 5 big ones in the middle of downtown. If they're weaving through New York, that would have been we've seen that in movies before, right? Helicopters going through New York and stuff. But this is LA. It's not that exciting.
Yeah, it was very dull, and Auntie says it was the most wasted screen time, and I did think we didn't need it at all. I'd rather have had another scene, with anyone else, than a helicopter chase. And also, if Moira thinks that a helicopter is a death trap, I am amazed she didn't say something when they were swinging through the sky. Why isn't Moira screaming? It's funny. But of course, we do know why they landed on that field. It was so that they could get that shot of all the cars pulling in through the... It was there's such a beautifully choreographed... And then all the people coming down the stairs. And I was like, when did they get there? Because they didn't know where this chopper was going to end up.
No. Were they all just following along underneath, watching where he was going and anticipating?
And there were a lot of them. So... I'd rather have been in the car.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out where the helicopter.
Well, but they could have cut it down to them, right? They could have at least let us know as the audience that there were people down there chasing after them. Because we had no idea they even existed until they popped up at the stadium. And then I loved it. Moira comes out of the helicopter and she's like, "Is all this for me?"
Yes.
She knows it. She does not care about anybody else but herself.
That was one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
So then we go to so they turn up and they're like, "All right, everyone get out of the helicopter." And Buck's like, "Okay, we're getting out," and he gets Moira out. And Tommy doesn't get out of the helicopter, so he's not even following orders. So he should definitely lose his job. And there's no Athena. And I was like, ow! Oh! I was so annoyed that I hadn't picked up on that.
It was great. It was a great little bait and switch. You know, it was perfect. It completely negates the like you didn't need the helicopter chase at all because like there was nothing in the helicopter of value. So yeah, and so she just gets her on her own. What?
How dare you say that Buck is not valuable?
Oh no, whatever. Fine. But she just happened. I mean, I imagine Athena just had a nice leisurely drive back to the virus lab with the.
Oh yeah, I bet she was kicking up her feet and having a lovely chat with Karen. I bet they weren't worried about it at all because they're still, you know. But yeah, all I wrote down was Karen.
Speeding her way back. So she gets back there and she gets suited up, and then she goes in to deliver the antivirus to her husband, who's on the other side of the glass, and they have a little thing that she passes it through to him and says, I don't remember what they say. It's something cute. Those two are so adorable.
He's like, you're an incredible woman, and she says, I love you too. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And there was a point where because Roz and Alan got involved, they got her a suit, and Roz gave her badge. So that
right. Yeah.
And they were like, just walk in through the front. Nobody's watching it. And I was like, why is nobody?
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, I have to say, I did appreciate that they came back to Roz and Alan during kind of the end montage of like there was a bunch of slow motion stuff happening, and we did check in with them again. It looked like they were kind of having a moment there. I think those two might be something. They might become a couple.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think I really want to find out. I really want to see the spin-off show of just Roz and Alan working in their now rebuilt virus lab, and they have a new boss who's just as much a pain in the ass as Moira was. Not as psychotic, but still that are giving them a hard time. That's what I want to see.
Because we are looking for Lab Rat spin-off. Okay, excellent.
There we go. We can call it Lab Rat. That's the name of the show. Lab Rat. There you
go. But we knew from the beginning of the previous episode that they hate Moira, so they were just, not only did she like get fired, but she got like arrested. She's not getting out anytime soon. So this has worked out very well for them. And then, so what we get then is they give the antiviral to Chim, and we get a whiteout. Not something we have on this show.
Oh.
This might become important.
Oh.
In the point where you find out I've lost my mind.
That's the theory here. Okay. So it's what you're talking about is editing wise, it was a flash to white, right? Which is it's like an edge room. Flash to white, and then we see. Is that when we see the montage of the thing, or what do we see next?
No, that's when we see like the army and FBI people shouting at Athena and Buck and Tommy and being like, you know, and Athena's like, because Buck goes, are you under arrest too? And she's like, well, I don't see a warrant. And I'm like, yeah, you can arrest people off the street. You don't have a warrant for Moira. That's not how these things work. What are you talking about? And Moira's like, oh, we're not under arrest. And she's like, except you. And so the FBI guy is like, you wasted our only thing on a guy who is on death's door, a guy who is, and Tommy goes, waving at us. Jimmy's like, hi guys. And at this point I was like, okay, he's an organ failure. Can the antivirus save him from that? Because when we see him later, he's just like sitting on a chair. He's not having any treatment for anything else. And I'm like, there are now surely other things that require treatment. The antivirus doesn't like fix everything.
No, it just gets rid of the virus. And in fact, the only other time we saw the antivirus being used on the rat, is the rat's name again? I remember. Polly, thank you. Polly the rat, but it was like, I don't think Polly was as far gone as Chimney got. Chimney was like, right, again, at death's door. He was right at the verge of dying. They got him to the very last second, as you would expect. But yeah, well, I mean, it is like the magic shot, right? As soon as you get that, then you're magically okay.
Yeah, because Polly wasn't hemorrhaging. She was just rubbing her face. And the others were like, what's wrong with Polly? And I was like, I know if you spend a lot of time around that rat, you know, but she doesn't look that sick to me.
No. But that reminds me, Chimney has, as he's being taken out of there, he has a rat. Is it Polly? Does he have Polly with him? Oh, That's Gee, you can use a pet.
Yeah, I think Gian should get a pet. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. So
That's
yes, so
hilarious.
then we get the point where, again, important wording here. Bobby says, "Get my people out now, not us,
Mm-hmm.
not me and my team, my people." He's talking about them. He is not getting out of that lab. So, and then they started playing "High and Dry" by Radiohead, and I was like, red flags everywhere. Don't leave me high, don't leave me dry. Someone, oh my god, someone's not getting out of this lab, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be Bobby.
Oh no. I was just like, that's a great song. Yeah, that's usually a bad sign. It's usually a bad sign. That's not a good thing. Oh man.
Lyrically, not the song you want played.
Mm-hmm.
And I just adored the way Buck walked in. I'm like, you would not believe the day I had. Like,
Yeah,
Bobby and Robbie are like, oh god, it's Kai. So that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Jim taking the rat, and then the reveal. Everyone's taken out, and Bobby's like sort of just hanging back for some reason. Like, he's gonna miss the place. Like, why is he still in there? And Buck comes back, and Bobby closes that door very late because Buck he's right there.
Yeah.
Don't know why he didn't just walk into the room with him. Like, why he just, And he happens to stop on the other side of that door, and Bobby presses the thing, and the thing comes down. And he takes his breathing apparatus off and his helmet and stuff, and he's got blood coming out of his nostril.
Yeah. So it's pretty obvious at that point that he's sick, and he's been sick. Like, that was like something that happened to Chimney a little bit into it. It wasn't right away. So you can, and that's really when I clued. I had no clue until that moment that anything was wrong. It did feel to me a lot like that moment in Armageddon when Bruce Willis pulls Ben Affleck's oxygen hose out and then shoves him into the thing to go back in, then he stays and sets off the nuclear bomb. Like, that's the same kind of thing where, although it's not the same because he was already infected. Like, there was nothing. Yeah. Now, was there really nothing they could do? That's my issue with this. Like, if he had said something when he discovered that Terrence said, "Oh crap, looks like I'm infected too, guys." Like, oh, okay, well, how do we replicate this then before we give it to Chimney? Can we figure a way and then get Roz and Alan on it? Like, come on, guys, anything can happen. Right?
I mean, all I can think is that he didn't discover the tear in his tube until after Roz had said it will take weeks to replicate.
Oh, okay. Okay, I forgot about that part.
But he does say to Athena later, I've been feeling like this for hours. So I think he, felt it, but didn't know that he'd got it until he saw that hole. But he knew that they wouldn't be able to get 2 doses in there.
Okay.
And he did the Captain Dad thing and sacrificed himself. And there was a big full circle moment for him and Buck. Because is it the first episode? He says to Buck, "Look, I know we have this thing where you call me Pops and we went to a Springsteen concert together, but this is not a family." Like, which was the big, like, oh, they're going to end up as a family moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so he says to him specifically, "We are not a family." And then the last, he says, "I love you, kid." And, and so that was very moving. And now I have to turn my page because for the first time in ages, I've gone over the page in my notes.
Yeah, it was very, like, I just want to know, like, how do you feel about how his death was treated? He has a very nice moment with Athena. He asks her to leave. She doesn't leave. She's like, "No, I'm not going to go." And then I can't remember how it happens, but basically we just see him being taken out in a body bag is the next time we see him, right? We don't see him actually die.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it is a classic TV trope, and it's one of the TV tropes that is not very popular. Which, again, you did not see the point where Chimney asks him about his kids. I don't know if you know that Bobby had a family that died.
Yes, no, you told me that. Yes, and that's right. And I did not realize that in that moment. But I mean, it's still like he says, "I'm sorry to bring that up." It's like, it's okay, and it was fine. It was a great moment, but
And also, Bobby knows he's dying, so why would he not? He's about to go and be. He's religious. He's about to go and be with his kids. You know, that's what Bobby thinks is happening. So why would he not want to take this last opportunity to like talk about them? And he says, he's talking about we don't the time that they have, and he says mine was always borrowed. LA was meant to be my penance, not my home. And it's that formerly suicidal character who is no longer suicidal and then dies anyway. And it's that like they find happiness and they realize that like, because even last season, even was it season 7 where the house burnt down? Yes, it must have been. Even in that season, he was still like, this is, you know, I'm still living on borrowed time. I'm still paying my dues for burning that place down and killing all those people. And so there's this thing of like, he's building his dream house. He's finally settled into being alive and being allowed to be alive. And then they kill him. And people are like, that's a lot of what people are mad about as well, that they've played out that trope. Lovely.
Oh yeah? You think it was a good thing?
I thought it was, you know, I thought it was well done. You know, if they were gonna kill somebody, like him and Athena having that moment, seeing all of cutting to all the different people breaking down about it.
Yeah, that was
Eddie's driving his Uber, having a lovely time in Texas with his son still. And I, yeah, if they were gonna do it, they were gonna do it. I don't think they have.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think they were gonna do it.
Interesting. Oh, wait. Okay. Before we get to that, I do want to say that I did have this kind of spoil for me, because I guess I don't watch it. Like I don't know how early you watch it. It airs Thursday nights, right, on ABC.
And I watch it at whenever I wake up on Friday morning.
Okay, so as soon as possible, so you don't get spoilers. Obviously, yeah. I don't live in the same algorithm that you do, so I don't get the spoilers coming at me as much as you do.
No.
But
and I'm very careful when we have our chats not to spoil anything for you.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. I appreciate that. But Google does not feel the same way. And so what happened was that because I've Googled this show enough times over the course of doing this show with you and just looking up stuff, I guess it's going to tell me news articles now. So when I go to Google News, boom, pops up there. Now, there were a couple of different articles that I saw, and one of them was your typical clickbait. This long-running cast member finally leading 911 after 8 seasons, something like that. But you don't know who it is, and because you're supposed to click, right? That's good clickbait. The other one, actor Peter Koza on why he's leaving the show after this time. Like it said his name in the headline. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I'm like, is that real? Is it fake? I didn't really fully believe it. And even as I'm watching the end of this episode going, oh, okay, it was bullshit. Never mind. They're not going to kill him. It's fine. I'm just like, it was just a stupid rumor that somebody started, and it was just a totally BS clickbait thing. But no, it was like he wanted to leave. And I assume that like they he asked to leave or something, or I don't know. They probably had some kind of thing. No, what happened?
This is the thing. I'm about to get a jigsaw puzzle little thing on my...
Okay, here's the jigsaw puzzle, then tell me your theory.
Oh, that was a different... Oh my god, wait a second, that was different. I have to do a different thing. Wait, there's a Dalmatian.
Wait a minute, are you a robot?
Oh, yeah. Meat morp. So, yes.
By the way, why can't robots do those things? I don't know why that distinguishes us from robots. Anyway.
Interesting. I've just had some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. Has someone just sworn about Bobby dying?
Oh, maybe.
So, okay, let me talk about Bobby Nash not being dead. So, weeks ago, end of March, that I've never told you about, we saw them filming Bobby's funeral.
Okay.
They took out an entire street in LA. And they filmed his funeral. People were live streaming this thing. You know, the public. They filmed it in front of the public. They have never spoilt the show like that before. They have never done anything like that before. They could have done it on the set, but instead they did it in public with his jacket on the back of the truck. So we all knew it was him. And May and Harry were there, and the only person who wasn't walking in that lineup was Bobby Nash. So since the end of March, we have known that Bobby is gonna die. I'm air quoting.
Okay, well, thank you for not telling me. I appreciate that.
Yes, so I didn't tell you. On April the 1st, both Oliver Stark and Jennifer Love Hewitt shared in their Instagram stories just a random picture of themselves or something. And somewhere in the picture was a page of the script. Okay? And you had to screenshot it and zoom in very, 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 very far. Mm-hmm. And it said it was Bobby calling from his casket saying he was being buried alive. I was like, April Fools, because it's the 1st of April and they've done this as the song they were playing as Bobby died. Lyrics: no grave can hold my body down, I'll crawl home to her.
You're talking about the Hozier song now?
The Hozier song. That's like not the Radiohead song, the one that they were playing as he actually passed.
Okay.
The white flash, the only time we've had a white flash before was when Buck had a coma dream. So they give Chimney the medicine, we get a white flash. Is this a Chimney coma dream?
Oh, okay.
We had an episode called Holy Mother of God. Whose mother was that? Bobby's. She's the mother of God. Bobby died around Easter. What did Jesus do? He died at Easter and he rose again. I'm completely delusional.
By the way.
I am so delusional.
Well, so, okay, let me see if I can summarize this then. So what you're saying is this is all a big fake out, and they staged the funeral publicly so that people would know ahead of time, so people would really believe that he's going to die, but it's not. It's not really going to die. And so how long are they going to stretch this out, do you think, if that is the case? Like a couple episodes?
Yeah, I have no idea. I said to my friend Izzy on here, I said, I'm giving them 3 episodes. If he's not back after 3 episodes, which is the end of the season, I will I will give up my delusion. But right now, I am in the first stage of grief, which is denial. I'm absolutely... Now, all the cast members have also posted little goodbye Peter things.
Oh, okay.
They've all posted one. Kenneth Choi is replying to people. So somebody said, I won't be watching again. And he said, I get it. This is a rough one for us too. And then someone else said, I don't think a single person is happy with this decision. And he replied, I agree. And I'm like, Kenneth, I just don't think you'd be able to be saying that. Like if it really happened.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so.
So I genuinely think, because the last person we had like an exit interview for was Tommy, and he came back. I mean, he was never dead, but he was like out of the show, you know? And yeah, so I am being fully delusional right now.
It doesn't sound that far-fetched to me. Honestly, you could be right. It could be, I could see it going either way. Shows have done similar things in the past. I can tell you this, I think that the reason why would you say the majority of the fans are angry about this death? Like they're angry about this MCD major person?
Yes. Yeah. I would say that the fandom, I don't know about the general audience, but my people are, as the kids say, crashing out. They are crashing out hard. People are fuming. Auntie, I know, is absolutely devastated. I just know that, like, everyone is so angry about this because this is not a show about realism. It's a lot of people's comfort show. They watch it because they know that nobody's gonna die. You know. Now,
is this like for me? It brings me back to the. I used to love The Walking Dead. I used to watch that very religiously, and until they killed off Glenn, and that was the moment where I stopped watching the show. I really did. I was like, that's pisses me off how he went, and I understood, like, I wouldn't have been upset if Glenn did die, but the way he died was upsetting. But just not being able to see that character again, I think that's part of it, right? So people are upset because they're shocked by it. Do you think they'll be?
Yeah, Yeah, and I get it. I mean, I stopped watching Battlestar Galactica very early on because they killed off my favourite character.
Oh.
And he was like a sort of nothing character, but I was very attached to him, and I was like, I was so upset. I've never gone back to it. And so I totally understand why people are as upset as they are. And I think I would feel differently about it. I might be just as angry and upset by it if I wasn't quite... I'm just hanging on so hard to the idea that he isn't dead. There was... the only other thing I will say is that Oliver posted a story where you could hear Peter in the background. And this is after they've filmed the episode where he's meant to be dead. So you could hear Peter in the background. He deleted that. Now, he does that a lot, Oliver. He puts stuff up and he deletes it 30 seconds later. He's a chaos merchant. But he then re-uploaded it just without the sound. So it was almost as though he was going, well, you weren't meant to hear him, so I can repost the video because you don't see him. Then Kenneth Choi just uploaded the video with Peter in it. And I was like, okay, so either this was filmed before all of this happened and they're trying to mess with us this way, because this was after we'd seen the funeral. But the idea, these people know who they're dealing with, the showrunners. We are feral little goblins. So just as soon as they filmed his funeral in public, I was just like, why on... We've had funerals on this show before, not for MCDs, but why on earth would you film it in public and let the public be there? They might have closed the street to traffic, but they didn't close it to the public. The people, the cast were like signing autographs and chatting.
Mm.
It was so weird. Yes. But like, you know, that. So if you don't want to watch the show anymore, I completely understand.
No. I don't feel that way.
I mean, to the fandom, if they don't want to watch it, I completely understand. But I will be sticking by it because I shout at this show a lot anyway. I don't expect it to do anything I want.
And you're convinced he's still alive. So you're convinced that and someone else made a reference to him being in a coffin. So if he is in fact being buried alive, then he was misdiagnosed as being dead. Oh no, you're saying this is a fever dream. So none of this is real.
It's either all a fever dream, because we see Chimney is fully blaming himself.
Yeah.
It's either a fever dream, or the other theory is Bobby has magic blood, which is something you don't know about. Bobby has a very special kind of blood. He donates his blood all the time because he can cure stuff. He has magic blood. So maybe the virus reacted differently to him. Maybe if you get that far along with the virus, which we've never seen before because Chimney got cured, it just slows your heartbeat to a rate that nobody picks it up and they bury you alive like Romeo and Juliet and whatever. You know, so there are so many reasons that could have kept him alive. And I'm going to cling on to them until my nails bleed. That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Yeah, lots of good comments and from everybody, and I understand. Like it's a very surprising. I was shocked. You especially after last week when you assured me last week, you promised me no major characters ever die in this show. It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen on this show, right? We don't do that.
And I would like to point
out,
I was saying that to you even though I knew they'd filmed his funeral. So
okay.
Like, already I was probably convinced it wasn't going to happen. And secondly, I'm really good at not spoiling shit for you. And
you are very good at that, yeah. I don't know how you can enjoy the show knowing all that stuff.
Well, this is the thing. Sometimes I do wish I didn't know the stuff that I did. And I do, like, I do try and avoid things during the season, but it's just so impossible to. I am on 911 TikTok, so I literally cannot avoid it. So I've sort of just accepted I have made my bed and I will lie in it, you know. I watch The Rookie obsessively, but I know nothing about it. So every week it's just me going, what is happening? You know. But this one is more like, what are the fan theories and how right can we be and how spectacularly wrong can we be? And that's sort of some of the fun of it for me. So yeah. So I mean, we've gone slightly over, but do you have time to tell me what else you've been watching?
Yeah, you brought up earlier in the stream. You brought up Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which kind of reminded me that I've been watching The Good Place. I started watching that regularly, and I'm still in season one. But it's a very, very funny show. It's a lot of it's same one of the same guys who was part of Brooklyn Nine-Nine,
Yeah, Mike
creative
Schur.
guy, so Mike Shore, yeah. And but it's
Kevin from 99 is in it, isn't it?
who, what?
Kevin, the husband, the captain's husband. He's in The Good Place.
Is he? What is he in The Good Place?
Have you seen it before?
No.
The Good Place. All right, okay. Well, he will turn up.
Okay. We just got to the point where Adam Scott just showed up as, I guess, the devil from The Bad Place. I just found out that she just confessed that she's from The Bad Place. She was not supposed to be there. So now they're figuring out. So they just came up. Adam Scott just showed up with, and I've been watching, I just finished Parks and Rec as well. So his voice is very clear in my mind. I knew it was him immediately. And so that's, again, very early on, but it's so funny. And it's such a clever kind of, I like shows that kind of, do a twist on Christian mythology like this and talk about like heaven and the possibilities of the afterlife and stuff like that. I like those. Like, it's like Good Omens, very similar to Good Omens in that kind of feeling of like, this is kind of how it is.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I mean, The Good Place is just magnificent, and The Good Place is one of the not spoiling anything, but one of the shows that seems to have a very generally well received finale. Like,
okay,
like it's one of the few shows where people are like, it ended well. Yeah. So that's really good. A friend of mine, Steph, she just adores The Good Place, and Good Omens actually. So. I actually watched The Night Agent, and I know because I'd said to you, like, I went back to 2 series that I'd given up on. So I gave up on The Night Agent because I felt like the end of the first episode was so...
You say, yeah, you said that.
Yeah, it was so forced, but it was a good sort of standard thriller fare, it was great. It was fine. And the other thing I went back to was Matlock.
Oh, okay, the new one.
Yeah, because it's something that I've become obsessed with jigsaws, and it's something that I can watch and jigsaw at the same time. Mm-hmm. And it had its season finale, and let me tell you, that was a cliffhanger.
Oh.
Like, I was like, okay, they've been reviewed for season 2, so the end of season 1 is going to be this, because it was so clearly leading towards something in particular. And I was like, okay, so that's going to be the end of season 1, and then season 2, they're going to have to, like, shift slightly, they're going to have to pivot. They are not pivoting! Because the season finale was not what I expected the season finale to be.
Oh, okay.
No, it was really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard good things about that. You're not the only one who's told me that's a good show, so I'll have to check it out. I did watch like a smattering of Matlock back in the day. My grandmother loved it, so it was that the original Matlock. Yeah, she absolutely loved Matlock. So yeah, that's all I remember. But yeah, I love Kathy Bates. She's awesome. She's always good.
She's just brilliant.
Yeah. I heard someone actually saw a really interesting clip. It was an interview with her about something about her mother.
Yes, her Oscar. She thought she hadn't thanked her mum.
Her mom had convinced her that she hadn't thanked her, and she did. She did thank her mom in her Oscar speech.
I don't know that she ever said that her mum told her she didn't thank her. Because it's been a lot of chat about gaslighting, like that she was gaslit by her mum for her entire life. What happened? The bits I've seen of the interview was that when she won the Oscar, her mum was like, "Well, you didn't cure cancer." Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
And then she's like, "But it's my own fault that she's angry at me about it because I didn't thank her in the speech." And I've never forgiven myself for not thanking her in the speech. And I don't know if she ever said in the interview that her mum brought that up or like kept bringing it up or whatever. But the moment where they showed her the speech and she did thank her, oh my God, you just saw the weight lifting off her shoulders.
Yeah. She's like, thank you. She said thank you to the person. She's like, thank you for showing me that. That's incredible. I'd never realized.
Yeah, and it's so brilliant that she's got that closure on it, and she probably has never rewatched her Oscar speech because it's triggering for her because she thinks she didn't thank her mum, and so she's never gone back to rewatch it. So she would never have been able to prove that to herself. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think that was a really brilliant moment of just accidentally fixing something for her. So yeah, it was It was lovely, but I think possibly she was gaslighting herself. I think that she was possibly like,
that's true. Yeah, she didn't actually say that. You're right.
Yeah, there's no wonder that she wasn't impressed by me winning an Oscar, because I wouldn't be impressed if my kid won an Oscar and didn't thank me. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, oh no, but you did thank her. So yeah, that was really, yeah. I mean, I love her from, oh God, what's the one with Primary Colours?
Oh yeah, with John Travolta.
Yeah, and more importantly, Adrian Lester. Oh my God, I'm so in love with Adrian Lester. and Emma Thompson. Yeah. Kathy Bates in that is just, she's just a powerhouse. I just love her.
I've seen that forever.
And I haven't seen Misery, so I really need to see that.
Oh, that's what she won the Oscar for, so that's definitely a must watch. I saw this weird, and we are going pretty long, but I'll end on this one. I saw this, you know how they get people to AI to recreate things from movies and stuff? So I saw somebody recreated like characters from movies, but like palling around. It was like they're torturer and victims, but friends. And it was like one of James Caan and her, and they're like arms around shoulders, smiling. She's got her hammer going like this. It was very, very twisted and weird. But this is what people are doing with AI these days.
I think I have seen that thing where they've recut the trailer so that it looks like a romantic comedy.
Of course they have.
That's really funny. But yeah, and she did Dolores Claiborne, is that her as well? So yeah, like I've seen About Schmidt, and but Primary Colours, she really, really steals that film.
Yeah.
Even from Adrian, who I'm so in love with, but she's completely magnificent. All right, well, thanks for listening to me be completely deluded.
Yeah, we'll see how your theory holds up. We'll find out next week or week after, maybe. I don't know. Nope.
We won't find out next week because they're not on next week.
Oh, okay.
So we have a week off. So unless we find one episode, like a pilot that never lasts, like the American version of Spaced or something, and we watch that just to punish ourselves.
Is that a thing that exists?
Yeah, is it Spaced? I thought
it was the IT crowd. They tried to do the IT crowd.
Yeah. But and there's probably a lot of them that they tried to do. They are not all The Office. And, yeah. So no, we get you get a week off from My Delusions, and then we can come back and talk about Bobby Nash's funeral, which is fake. It's completely fake.
Or he's going to be in the thing. I mean, that would fit if it was a fever dream, right? That would fit with Chimney's fever dream. All of a sudden, he does come back to life and he's a zombie. Just like that woman in the other episode. A couple episodes ago, we had that woman buried in the garden.
Yeah, had Buried Alive already this season, and they do enjoy parallels in this show.
Okay.
Just saying.
Right.
Mother of God, Bobby is God. He is risen. I will speak to you in 2 weeks.
Bye.